Hi, it's Marco, and today I will share with you an interview that I did with the CEO of the platform LANDE that I have in my own portfolio. So, just before we move straight into the interview, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the platform. So, it is a crowdlending platform, but it's really different from other platforms in the field because they are mostly investing in projects related to agriculture, like grain, for example. So this promised to give investors higher returns, but also higher security because of the quite low LTV, so loan to value ratio of those projects. So I'm an investor, I already reviewed the platform on my site, but I really wanted to learn more about it, and especially about the current situation, what they think about it, and also what are the plans of the platform in the future. So for those reasons, I really wanted to talk with the CEO of the platform to get my answers to all those questions and also to share them with you. So without further ado, let's move to the interview that I did with the CEO of LANDE.
So, yeah, thank you so much for coming to the show. And if you could just start by introducing yourself and introducing your company, LandSecured.
Yeah, thanks for inviting Marco. I'm Nikita, CEO and co-founder of platform Land Secured. Me and my team have experience of more than 10 years in lending business. We're working with high net worth investors and local banks. And I would say in late 2020 we have launched a platform for retail investors also. So for the last 10 years we have earned on average more than like 10 and 11% annually for the investors, zero capital lost. I would say this is a pretty good track record, and we plan to continue to perform in such a way. Yeah. So the platform is focusing on agricultural projects. This is the field we have chosen because we see a great potential in it, and also this gives investors opportunity to diversify. There was already more than enough, real estate platforms and payday lending platforms, and I would say one of the key pillars in investing is to diversify. So because you actually never know which of the fields, which markets would perform better. It's too hard to prognose. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's first talk a bit about crowdlending in general. So, why do you think it's better or at least different than other types of investments? Because there are a lot out there, right? People can invest in real estate, people can invest on the stock market. So why would they invest in crowdlending?
I can say that something is better or worse. It wouldn't be correct. But what I personally like, and we see that some investors like it as well, that you have this kind of fixed interest rate here, and you can. It's not so unpredictable as a stock market, which fluctuates a lot. You can at least plan and prognose. Of course, there might appear some changes or difficulties or situations, but at least you can hope for this fixed rate, and usually it goes like this. And it's in a way it's more enjoyable to see, because in 1 year a stock market can go minus 30%, and the second year it can be
Yeah.
plus 30%, and the nerves should be very strong, and crowdlending is also I like not only the product itself, but also that you have this kind of community here. It's more open-minded. You can contact the CEO. You can chat on the Telegram with other investors. If you wish, you can visit the platform. For example, if any LandSecure investor wishes to visit us in Riga, the doors are open always. And there is this kind of vibe which I personally enjoy, not talking about the basic financial pluses and benefits it has. Surely it also helps the economy because, for example, agricultural lending helps small and medium farmers to increase their production volumes, to produce more food, to buy new machinery, to produce working places. And this is your direct impact on exact farmer, on exact business. and you just don't get this kind of feeling of investing in stocks or in ETFs. You just put your money in sort of black box, and you hope it goes well. But here it's like more like personalized, more attractive. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is the benefits of the industry. But I cannot highlight that it's better or worse than something. Comparing platforms with the stock markets, okay, you can say that historically there's this 8% you can get on the stock market. It certainly is correct and it's proven. But if you're active and you're analyzing new platforms, you can earn, I believe, 12% or maybe even higher in some cases, including all the bonuses, cashbacks, and referral campaigns. So you can actually outperform the market, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks for the answer. Let's go back to your company, LANDE Secure. As you know, there are many platforms out there in the crowdlending space. So, what makes LANDE Secure different than those other platforms? So, you already mentioned one thing, that you are really focused on the agriculture field, right? And I actually don't know of any other platform that is similar to yours. But is that what makes you different?
I would say our values and our approach, how we're building our platform, is totally different. Because when we launched LANDE Secured, it was hard times for crowdlending. We were not able to choose other times because we needed to start. But this was the moment when we had these fraud cases on the market, because we need to talk about them openly. They were those cases, and they impacted the industry in many ways. Of course, some investors left the industry, but also it changed the industry totally, because now all the due diligence is made much deeper. You need to build trust gradually, and at the moment when we launched, we needed to build something safer, and that's why we made this product with low LTV, issuing around half. I think historically now average LTV on our platform is around 40%, so it's not even half basically of the asset price, and this you cannot say guarantees, but there's a big possibility of in case of default, of recovering this principal with accrued interest, not only the principal but also with interest. Yes. And this was our strategy. We also partnered with Lemonway to assure that the money of investors is stored safely on the Lemonway segregated accounts, the biggest French bank, BNP Paribas. And this was, our goals, our values, and sure, someone can say that we are a small platform, but I don't understand maybe this logic that you need to invest in the bigger platform, because that does not guarantee you the highest returns. Actually, I would say maybe as the platforms goes bigger, you're also paying for this long history with getting less returns a little bit. It's of course it's honest, yes, but this is what you're losing, you can say. Yes. So of course you need to be careful with new platforms. You need to make the due diligence for the owners, get their experience, go to the projects, and start with smaller amounts, with this a small balloon, and see how it goes, and only then increase your portfolio. I would say the difference of LANDE Secured is not only agricultural product, but also the style how we do the business. And to understand why we're building this in such a way, you need to look at our company's history. We're building lending products for 10 years, and we are now building platform by using our own profits. We are not just got a random investor, a rich guy who gave us the money. So we earned this money, and now we assembled a team, a professional team. Our lawyer is also with us more than 10 years. Marketing, IT is in-house, platform is built in-house. So itself, the structure pushes us to work in such a way, because we don't want to make mistakes and to make it short-term success, because it's quite easy to make short-term success. you can just forecast huge interest rates, and
Sure.
in a year
Of
issue
course.
the money, and in the year's time you're like have a huge portfolio, and then it collapses like a carrot house. Yes, so this is not what we have in mind. We look long term, like we are not in a rush. We are not looking to earn a lot of money for ourselves, because we have our main business. It generates profits, and we want to build a nice product with a goal in mind to actually to provide financing for the farmers, to increase the
Yep.
liquidity, and potentially maybe to change something for the best, in the industry. Because for me it's a little bit crazy to understand that um, by the data of European Investment Bank, farmers are underfinanced by 40 billion euros. It's a huge amount, but at the same time we have all this NFT hype, crypto hype.
Yeah.
But those
Yeah.
people are producing the real products which we use every day, and they don't have enough investments. That's not how should it be. And I think crowdlending was in Europe. It was started. The regulation was created to solve such problems, and this is what we are trying to do. Of course, providing investors with profits, because other how it's not
Yeah.
possible. Yeah. Sorry for a long answer, because
Awesome.
it's
No,
not
no,
so
that's,
easy
that
to
was,
create this picture. You need to look
of course, of course.
wider.
Yeah, that was very interesting, and especially like how crowdlending can actually, yeah, as you say, help people directly, right? Which otherwise would not get help probably. So that's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have great examples in real estate. The same estate guru, they really helped to build those houses,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
new houses, and the people live in there. And maybe these companies would not be able to obtain a loan in the bank, and this construction would not happen. And there is possibilities in in other sectors of economy as well, where we can use crowdlending and crowdfunding to improve it.
Yep. Definitely. So that's okay for you. We'll now go to some questions that come directly from my audience. So I ask people what they would like to ask you, and they come up. Three questions mainly came up a lot. So the first
Okay.
one was how does Land Secured choose the projects that are listed on the platform? So do you take anyone that comes to you and say I need funding? I imagine not, but how do you actually choose them?
Yeah, sure. This is a great question, and this is, quintessential for success in lending business. You need to build your own scoring algorithm, and
Yep.
I would say that our team has succeeded in this. We used our previous experience and created a model which assesses farmers' KPIs, like his production rates, his amount of land he's servicing, amount of land he is owning, and all this KPIs are participating in creating this decision. I would say that from our marketing perspective, we finance not more than 5% of all of incoming applications. It's a small percent, and because as I mentioned previously, our strategy is quite safe, and we don't want to fund bad loans and then waste time for recovering or damaging platform's reputation. But if we want to talk, more in details about the scoring system, I would think we should schedule another call, because I don't want to
Sure.
waste
Of course.
a half other
Of course.
hours
Of course.
time, to do it now. But by looking at our current track record, we don't have any defaulted loans.
Okay.
We have some minor delays, but for people investing in agriculture, it's important to understand that they have, a very unstable cash flow, because it's quite seasonal. They don't get the money every month. They grow the harvest, they get advances, and then they sell the harvest. And sometimes 2 or 3 times, depending on the farmers, they get these European subsidies. So this is the main sources of income for them, selling the harvest and subsidies. And if it's has a delay, where our team our debt collection team starts to work with the farmer immediately. We have a straightforward system, automatic messages, all of the letters. So we send like pre-court letters in 30 days, and we go to court after 60 days. But usually it never goes to debt collection. Up to this stage, because they are able to resolve this problem by getting this European subsidy payment or selling the harvest, or in the worst case, the land it's a mixed purpose, and they might have some small area of wood, which they can cut and sell. Maybe they didn't want to do it now, but something it was a bad season or something, and they're forced to do it. But still, they repay because of this. Many levels of and possibilities of repayment. So yeah, and also our safe LTV, because for example in seasonal financing we don't finance more than 60% of harvest price predictable. Yes, so if it's even a bad season and he don't get the 100% of the harvest, he gets 70%. It's still enough to repay land secured in full. Yes. So we just go by this safe strategy, and it has proven to work. Maybe we don't provide such big volume, but currently it's enough for us and for investors, and we want to go to work long term.
Okay, great. Thanks for the answer. The second question from the audience is really about what you said before. You were talking about all those frauds that happen in the field of crowdlending, and that really pushed the whole sector towards more regulation. And for example, other platforms, some big ones, for example, are getting those investment brokerage licenses, for example. So there's also this European legislation coming or in place for some platforms. So what are your plans for land secured in the field of regulation?
Yeah, so make it clear about the regulations. So there are two possibilities for any platform, I would say now, to get the brokerage license, which is more suitable for payday lenders because of the small amount, and the ECSP, which is European Crowd Service Providing License. And for the second one, the regulation was just adopted last year in November, so it's a new regulation, and it allows the platform to work all over Europe by getting the license, for example, in Latvia, so in their whole market. You don't need to get a license in all the countries. So because we're not a payday lender, we have chosen ECSP, which is Crowd Service Providing License, and when we launched Land Secured, the first thing we did, we went to the Latvian regulator, which is called FCMC, and we provided the business plan and the structure of the platform. And the first thing they asked us how the money will be stored, and they wanted to see the full segregation. This was important. And we have fulfilled this obligation, and we have received a written acceptance that we can start working in Latvia. This was even prior the regulation was adopted, prior the November, because we started earlier. And when the regulation came, we didn't need to do so much paperwork because we have the base established, and we just our lawyer created all the other procedures and sent them to FCMC. And now we just wait for them to review it and to issue the license. But the process is not so fast because it's the first time such license is issued, and there's many questions on the side of the regulator. And they're consulting all the way with the ESMA, which is in Germany, I think. And so it's all new, yes. But for us, this is the best license, I think.
Okay, great. The last question from my audience was more about what happens basically if one project on your platform goes bad. So can be repaid. You said it didn't happen before, but I imagine you have an answer, like what happens if
sure.
things goes really bad.
By having big experience in lending, defaults occur, and if someone's saying that they will not secure, they're lying because it's part of the statistics. You just have a percent. Even the banks have it. It's normal. It's part of the business, and you need to be ready for this. And we have all of our procedures ready to create a debt collection process, and Basically, if someone is not paying, we will try firstly to solve it, like by contacting the client and see what is the problem and try to solve it, try to help him somehow. In some ways, because we have such a low LTV, the loan amount is very small, and there are other lenders who could basically refinance this client from us, and he can continue to try to pay once more to them. Yes, but for us it's quite good because there's possibility of someone overtaking this client without debt collection, without spending time, and investors get repaid instantly. Yes, but in the worst case, we just go to the court, and on a public auction the collateral will be sold. And the land demand is huge now in all of the Europe because of the current agricultural situation.
Sure.
Basically, if we financed the client last year and made an appraisal of the land, and if we sell it today, it would be sold even higher than the previous appraisal. So if the prior LTV was 40%, today it might be already 30%. So because the price of assets increased. And the same goes with the harvest. This year the wheat prices increased drastically around 50-60%. If the last season farmer took the loan for seasonal financing and the wheat price was 200 euros, now it's 300 euros. Basically, the LTV dropped significantly. So this also helps. But in case of bad debt, we just make a standard debt collection procedure. That's it.
Okay, great. So now let's talk a bit more about the future. So, and first, maybe if you could share your thought about where is the whole field of crowdlending going in the coming years. So not your company in particular, but the field.
I get it. I was asked this question like previously, and I think I have the answer in my head.
Sure.
It actually didn't change a lot. The industry will get more mature. I think after this year, only licensed players will be left here, which is good for the industry itself. Another factor would come in the result of this, that more and more like institutional capital will be in the game. We already now see it in some platforms in UK and in the local ones. We heard the recent news. So this will be the factor which might drive the rates lower. So I mean for the older platforms, but it also would increase the safety of the platform. So in investments you always have this risk reward balance. So the risk would be lower and the reward would also be lower. So it's part of the game. Crowdlending will continue to solve problems of financing, and some platforms would not be able to scale. Some will be able to scale. Some will be bought. Some platforms could go to the IPO, I think, which we saw in UK for the LANDE. I think it was a platform that was one of the first cases for IPO for platform, and we will see some cases like this. Maybe from the same estate guru, we don't know. Maybe it's part of their plan. Some platforms will become banks because this lowers your cost of capital significantly and creates this business model more profitable. But still, there will be platforms which are focusing on the retail investors because there is a demand for such products, and it will continue.
Okay, great. And now let's continue this question, but more about your platform. So you already talked about the license. So, but what other kind of plans could you share about the future to me? Your future and your website, anything that you have in mind?
The number one priority is of course license. Just to we want to make this stick for everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, now already we have before we receive the license, we get an acceptance from regulators that we can continue to provide services. This is important, I would say, in any way that they checked and they believe in us and we have this acceptance. Because if you want to start a platform now, you would not get this acceptance. It's not possible already. You needed to start before the regulation. So the license is number one. The second big news that we are doing this rebranding and the Land Secured will change its name and visual appealing. We will be called
Okay.
LANDE. We will be called LANDE. We already have the brand book, and you can check the borrower's side, for example, by visiting lande.lv. This is for Latvian farmers, or lande.lt, and this will be the logo and the future like brand colors of Land Secured, because this is a logical step, because like first of all it shows what we are willing to do. We are willing to be associated with land, with agriculture, and to work on fixing this financing problem for farmers. And secondly, just basically it's easier to manage only one brand than both brands for our marketing team, and it will be easier to grow cross-border with one strong brand, because okay, there's two parts of the business, farmers and lenders, but in the end, without like one side without the other doesn't work. So we just want to connect these both sides to make the platform stronger. Also, we were launching very soon our first seed round. As I mentioned, we are building platform previously with our own profits, our own funds, but now we will raise our first funding round, which will be used for geographical expansion. Actually, this was planned already in February, March, but because of the Ukrainian situation, it was delayed, but it's still in plans. We have contacted all the investors, and they're staying strong and continuing with us, believing in our platform. So yeah, license, rebranding, funding rounds in new markets, and continue to publish great new projects with great return and a safety in mind.
Awesome. So let's now imagine that someone is just listening to this, and this person doesn't know much about the field of crowdlending. They never invested before in crowdlending. So what would be your advice for someone really starting out in this field?
I mean, the advice number one in any investment, just make your due diligence, analyze the platform, analyze the owners, the project, and of course listen to the podcast, read the bloggers, because I mean now like bloggers are doing a great job at making very deep due diligence, and they're also quite reputable, and they will not publish bad platforms and making bad advices, because so this channel is trustworthy. Also, always start small with any platform, just see how it goes, just of course read more information about the field, about the region, about the market where the investments are happening, and if everything goes good, just gradually start increasing, and of course don't put all your investments in one platform. I would say don't even put all your investments in platforms, because just diversify, create a balanced portfolio of ETFs, real estate, and so on. Just the basics. I cannot say anything new here, because it's just only way how it should be built. Yes, but crowdlending is great. I would say just contact investors, ask for. There's also many communities on Facebook, Telegram, and other channels. Ask about the platform, other investors, what they're thinking, what are their experiences, and this actually helps a lot usually.
Okay, great. So just to finish, what's the best ways to get more information right now about Land Secured?
Except this podcast, yeah. I mean,
podcast.
just the best way, of course, is to register on Land Secured, and you'll get the latest news in your email. We will send you the newsletter, and I like our Telegram community. There are people who started from the day one. We have one investor which invests in every loan, so he has the exact statistics of the loan performance. You can ask this guy, and so ask some questions and follow the channels.
Awesome. Yeah, so thank you so much again for joining.
Yeah, thank you for the great questions. It was a pleasure, and new investors are welcome. And if there are some new questions, feel free to ask them directly to our support team. And yeah, we're always open for communication and for visitors in our office and so on. So yeah.
Alright, so this is already the end of this interview. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you now want to learn more about LANDE Secured, I made sure to put some links. One is going directly to the platform, and one is going to my site where you will find my review of LANDE Secured that I update regularly. So that being said, if you are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, for example, make sure to just check below the video. You will find all those links. If you are listening to the podcast version of this, you will find the links in the podcast show notes in your favorite podcast app and also on my site in the podcast section. That being said, if you have any questions about the content of this interview, don't hesitate to leave me comments or send me an email. That being said, thank you again for following this interview, and I will see you in the next episode.